Hey viewers, welcome as we delve into one of the greatest action series of all time, Yippee-Ki-Yay! For 25 years, John McClane has battled terrorists on several occasions and saved countless lives. Today we look at the first four. This is the Die Hard franchise. Let's look at the first. Die Hard, released in 1988 and quite frankly, the film that redefined the action genre. In a nutshell, a New York cop is trapped on the top 8 floors of an LA skyscraper battling against terrorists who under the guise of hostage takers are after the millions of dollars in the building vault. Everything in this film is brilliant. The action sequences are immense, just a lot of explosions and destruction all within one location. You're quite surprised the building is still standing after everything that hits it. You've got C4 on the roof that detonates when a helicopter hits it. You've got being thrown down the elevator shaft and blown out the entire floor. Just a lot of booms and bangs. The acting is equally brilliant. Alan Rickman was made for this role. One way to sum up Hans Gruber: Mr. Takagi, I will count to 3. There will not be a 4. This film launched Bruce Willis into the limelight. Perhaps he wouldn't be as well known as he is today if it wasn't for this film. Acting wise, everyone else did a great job. My favourite supporting actor was Reginald Val Johnson as Al Powell. His best line? Nobody's going to need a paint job and a load of screen doors. In there as well is the late Paul Gleason as Dwayne T. Robinson, who, unlike most people, actually cares about glass, thinks McClane is a complete nutjob, or just some bartender for all we know. But as I said, everything in this film rocks. One solid Christmas film and one solid action thriller. Best of the series. But as most people say, the sequel is never better than the original, and that's certainly the case with Die Hard 2. Looks good on paper, but the direction is terrible. So many plot holes you could drive a Boeing 747 through. In this film, McClane is trapped in an airport after terrorists taking over, demanding the release of a drug lord. Returning from the first film are McClane, Powell, McClane's wife Holly, and reporter Richard Thornburg, with the latter two stuck on one of the planes in the sky. New to this film is a dumber version of Dwayne T. Robinson times 2. He just hates McClane and has his own preference to beating the terrorists. One idea: send a SWAT team out that gets annihilated by a team of gun-wielding painters. Second, bring in a group of US Army Special Forces who are actually working with the terrorists. This police chief is so stupid that he's finally convinced to take action when McClane flies blanks at him. The line he goes with when he goes into action: it's time to kick some ass! As I said, this idea looked good on paper, but that's about it. However, the things I'd say that would save this movie would be the performances of Willis and the action sequences. You've got 2 planes being destroyed and McClane escaping one plane via the ejector seat just before it explodes. They're the saving graces of Die Harder, and what stops this film from having the dishonour of being the worst of the Die Hard films. As this honour, or dishonour, goes to number 3, Die Hard with a Vengeance. Now I'm going to say this pure and simple: I've nothing against Samuel Jackson in the slightest. He is an amazing actor. He was brilliant in Pulp Fiction, he was brilliant in The Negotiator, and he was brilliant in this. But that's about it really. This film is boring. Boring plot, boring villains, boring action sequences. When I first saw the Die Hard films, after I got the quadrilogy box set, I went into number 3 with high hopes, as I'd heard it was the best of the series. But I've never been so bored in my life. The whole idea of McClane and Jackson's character Zeus Carver going across New York in a taxi solving riddles never really appealed to me. Okay, some of the riddles were good, like the Watchdog one, but they weren't too clever. And the idea that the villain was Hans Gruber's brother was predictable, to be honest. And his idea was a bit confusing. Performing a massive heist while keeping McClane distracted seems simple enough, but you've got twists at every turn, such as placing scrap metal onto all the cargo ships instead of the gold, and then an aspirin bottle of all things, helping McClane to track Gruber down to his hideout near the Canadian border. The action sequences in the first 2 films were exciting, but they were underwhelming here. Okay, I'll admit the subway one was quite fun, but how could Carver get out of there without a scratch? So in my view, Die Hard with a Vengeance is overrated, underwhelming, and boring. A question rose in my mind. Could there be a Die Hard film that would be just as good as the original? And to my delight, there could be, in the shape and form of Die Hard 4.0, or Live Free or Die Hard as they call it in America. Released 12 years after number 3, number 4 would prove to be a return to form for McClane in a very action-packed outing. In this film, McClane is up against cyber terrorists who intend to shut down America systematically over Independence Day weekend. The action sequences are amazing and on par with the first film. You've even got McClane destroying a fighter jet with an interstate highway and an HTV. But in my view, the best action sequence is with the funniest lines of the film. Dude, you just destroyed a helicopter with a car! I was out of bullets. Justin Long is very good in this movie as computer hacker Matt Farrell. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is one of my favourite young actresses, and her performance is Lucy McClane. Timothy Olyphant, he may not be up there with Alan Rickman for best for Die Hard franchise, but he's certainly better than William Sadler and in some respects Jeremy Irons. This film's plot, it really works. You've got terrorists wanting to prove that America's cyber system is unsafe, and so in order to prove a point, they decide to shut it down systematically and just cause widespread chaos. And obviously McClane fights to stop them in this battle of old school versus new school. Exciting. Overall, this film is fun and will leave you on edge for sure. But if I could find one thing that I'd dislike about Die Hard 4.0, and this is being a bit picky, but it'd have to be the action sequence involving the fighter jet. As fun as it is, it's a bit over the top, and really how can someone survive a fighter jet explosion by sliding down parts of a wrecked road? I mean, really? I may be being picky, but it's true. Other than that, Die Hard 4 is a lot of fun and easily the best of the sequels. Now, I know I said I prefer the first 4 Die Hards, but as you know, a 5th recently came out, A Good Day to Die Hard. And I'm going to save that review until it comes out on Blu-ray. As you might know, it's not really been the most received films of the year, and I'd rather wait for it to be available on Blu-ray before I review it. As for the first 4 films, this is how I rate them best to first. 1, 4, 2, 3. And that's it.